Welcome back to your favorite podcast, Deac2Deac. In this episode, I have a chance to sit down and talk with two-time All ACC and first round draft pick Calvin Pace. Calvin and I had a chance to talk about his journey to the NFL and what made Wake Forest special, plus much, much more. Take a listen, and as always, go Deacs. So Calvin Pace, uh, thank you for stopping through Deac2Deac podcast. So kind of start from the beginning. Where you originally from, and what was it like growing up there?
I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan. Um, my dad, when I was 3, my dad came to Atlanta and became a police officer. So sent for us like a year later and grew up right outside of Atlanta in a town called Douglasville. So simple living, man. I mean, really was all American town. Um, football was lifeblood, along with some other sports, basketball, baseball. Um, it was a great upbringing, man. It was safe, made a lot of good friends. Um, just really just all American upbringing.
So, with there being so many other sports that were big in your area, what drew you to football?
Man, believe it or not, man, my mom.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
growing up, yeah, Saturday mornings, catching cartoons. I'm gonna date myself a little bit, man, but Pee Wee Herman, Pee Wee's Playhouse, back in the day, and just
yeah.
catching all the cartoons. And once the cartoons went off about noon, I'll never forget the day I was sitting in my mom's bedroom. Me and her was watching TV, and then football came on. My first football game I watched was Michigan Notre Dame. This is like Rocky Ishmael days, the real
Yeah,
glory days of Michigan Notre
yeah.
Dame. And man, from the first snap, man, it caught my eye. I was hooked. And no lie, I looked back at my mom and I was like, I want to play football, and it grabbed me. And even to this day, she's a huge football fan. Um, I mean, she sit down Sunday, sit and watch games, and it's just kind of something that we've kind of grew up together with. Not to
Hmm.
say that my dad wasn't a football fan, but he was a little bit more baseball, basketball.
Yeah.
Uh, but for whatever reason, we grew with it together, man. Both hooked us at the same time.
So, were you always the star player on your team, or did you have to go through some kind of growing pains and then kind of emerge?
Man, I was the furthest thing from the star player up until probably sophomore, junior year in high school when I started realizing what I could do with it. I always believed in myself, and I tell people I knew at age 9 is what I wanted to do was my life mission, was my life goal, my dream, and I never wavered from that. I never, even from a kid with glasses, braces, uncoordinated. I knew deep down that eventually something would happen and it would click. So mentally, I always stayed in the game. I learned the game. I'm very interested in where people are from because I feel like football is a regional game. I feel like you get different brands of football depending on where you're from. Right. My personal opinion, I think Deep South is the best football there is. I think you get a combination of speed, power. You probably see some of the best athletes in the world from Kentucky down over to Texas, just out the
Yeah.
bed, just 4'3", 40-inch vertical type guys.
Yeah.
Um, but if you want different things, you go different places. If you want linemen, the Midwest, Northeast corridor from Pennsylvania down a little bit. So it struck me like, well, I'm watching games and I'm like, where is this guy from? Where's Rocket Ishmael from? Where is
Mhm.
Tyrone Wheatley from? And I started digging into the game more, and I'm listening to the game. I'm listening to the commentators talk about different people, their upbringings, their things they've been through, and it drew to me, man. It was, to me, I had to learn the game first because physically I wasn't there. I had to learn what
Yeah.
people do, and I didn't honestly really kind of come into my own physically until literally probably about a month before we got out of school, my 8th grade year. It's when I went from about 5'8" to 6'1".
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
I'm a late bloomer in the sense that I started school early, so I've always been a year early in terms of the rest of my classmates. So Everybody else had already hit their spurt. They was up and going, and I kind of came in the back end. And they didn't see it coming. They just was probably like, "Oh, that's just Calvin. He, whatever." But I had the belief, and then God willing, the athleticism came, the traits came, and it just kind of, it honestly went from, I'm playing, I'm doing okay, to overnight going to the summer into my high school. I was a totally different person. Literally, I was a totally different person.
Yeah. Was there a particular coach or family member that helped you kind of get over that hump and learn the game as now your body has caught up with you?
Well, I really have been fortunate in people. I'm not saying a whole coaching staff, but every level I've been, I've had one coach kind of take it upon himself to take a liking to me,
Mhm.
even in my athletic days. But moving forward, when I was in college, I played my defensive coordinator, started out as a safety at Florida State. And then he ended up
Okay.
transferring to Delta State because he's from Mississippi. I guess some things happened to him in his college career, transferred down a level. So he knew the recruiting process. He knew the camp process. So
Mm-hmm.
when it came time for recruiting, it was seamless for him. He had already he knew how to go about things. And he kind of, like, for instance, when I got to high school, I played corner, but I was 6'3", right?
Oh, wow. Okay.
The thing about it is like I knew what to do though, because again, I've always watched football on a different level. Like I don't just sit and watch the game. I'm watching, like, like I said, where is this guy from? What makes this guy who he is? And I've always picked certain players. Like for
Mm-hmm.
me, growing up, and even now, I like a player. Then I follow the team. I don't just follow
Yeah.
the team. I don't follow the Falcons because I'm from Atlanta. I've never been that person. I like kind of the Falcons because of Deion Sanders, right?
Yeah.
Prime time thing in town. So I'm watching him, and he played baseball. So, I kind of got into it. I digested in terms of who exactly Deion Sanders was and how was he able to do such great things in two different sports. I mean, this guy literally took a plane from a football game, to go play a baseball game.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for me, it kind of was, I had to grow the game mentally first. And then I kind of got into, like I said, who I was as a player. Um, but in high school, like I was saying, I played corner, and I just thought I was gonna play corner. My coach was like, "Nah, man, look, you're gonna play linebacker. This is more realistic, right?" Now,
Yeah.
mind you, Smith, I'm doing my thing at corner now. I had 5 interceptions, 8 games. I took one 97 to the house on a guy tried to run a slam on. I took it 97 to the house. Mind you, it's freshman year, but still,
Okay. Okay.
it's on my stat sheet. But honestly, man, just a kind of hidden gem for whoever listens to this. The game starts on the back end, meaning if you can see the field from a bigger, a broader spectrum, and then move down, it becomes easier. So
Mm.
for me, I played corner. Being out in space never was a problem for me. It's harder to move a guy from defensive line to linebacker because he's so used to being locked into one player. So
Uh-huh.
for me, again, having learned the game mentally, playing a position that it wasn't my end goal position. I ended up playing outside linebacker in a professional league. I grew my game from different levels down, and
Mm-hmm.
it just made it all easier for me because I could see things on a whole different level versus, oh, I'm just going against the left tackle today. I don't know what's going on
Yeah.
behind me.
Well, speaking of learning the game, what was it about Wake Forest that really separated from other schools when you were thinking about the decision and where you were going to go after high school?
How to got to Wake? Just the setting, man, the intimate setting, man. I needed more time to kind of grow as a
Yeah.
player and as a person. Um, and honestly, man, the fact that I think Wake had come off a 5-6 season, they were like one
Mm-hmm.
game away from to a bowl game. That intrigued me because I came from a high school. I was 4-6 straight years. We never sniffed the playoffs. So
Wow.
I kind of wanted to build something. I wanted to be a part of that versus it was foreign to me to go to a school that was 10-0, 11-0. That just wasn't what I was used to. So I was okay with grinding. I was okay with taking some lumps to get to the top. and it worked out, man. And one of the things is that I'm most proud of is like where the guys are now. You know, that comes off the backs of guys like myself, guys like you, Big Fred, Desmond. You know, because you got to look at the guys who laid the footwork, the groundwork.
Yeah. Well, you came to Wake, and one of the things I noticed about you is each year you got a lot better. I mean, even just looking at your sophomore year, you went from 50 tackles to your senior year, 70 tackles. What would you attribute to your continued development? Because a lot of athletes will plateau at a certain point, but you continue to get better. What What do you think was a major part of that for you?
Um, I had a day of reckoning because, mind you, I got moved to defensive line my first day of practice. Really, first day of freshman practice. Coach Lemon was like, "Hey man, come on down with the D line. We need some bodies. You know, we'll send you back tomorrow." And that never happened. Really, never. I came as a linebacker, never got not one snap done. Right,
Yeah.
but one thing as me as a person, I try to be aware of what's going on around me, and then
Yeah.
myself. Right, two of my best friends to this day are Ed Carbo and Rod Steven. And part of the reason why they became my friends were they were better football players than me. I never told them this, but I was watching them. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? Because Ed played as a freshman. He was ready
Yeah.
mentally, physically. And Rod Steven, um, for whatever reason, he knew the game better than me in terms of being able to apply it on the field. And he was more physically ready than me. Mind you, I came to school at about 205.
Yeah.
6'5", 205 to get thrown out to the D line. And I don't think we had a left tackle that was less than 315.
Yeah.
I mean,
Not
it
at
was,
that time. Yeah.
I'm holding on for dear life every day. So one thing I had to do, I had to get my body right to be able to compete. So I went from about 205 the day I got there till the day we left for winter break. I was about 240. So I hit the weight
Okay.
room hard. Got some weight, got my weight up. Then I had to start learning the game as everything went on. So little nuggets that I remember, but Coach Lemon told me one day, he was like, man, you got long arms. If you use them, you can make a lot of money. So I figured out, man, I got to find a way to keep these guys out of my body because I'm going to always
Yeah.
be outweighed. So in saying all that, like I said, I had to figure out the game in terms of that level, where I was. I'm at a higher level. I'm dealing with Division One athletes who are physically stronger than
Hmm.
me, and they've been here longer than me. So I gotta lessen that curve some. So I figured I need to step my game up and practice because this is my game every day. I'm red shirted. Every day is my game day. And I
Hmm.
learned how to practice harder to get more out of practice and not take my losses for the day as total losses. I took them as learning points. You know, what happened right there? Why didn't you? Why did that guy? Why couldn't you get off that block?
Yeah.
Or how did you get reach right there? What were you looking at? That type of thing. So literally in a matter of a season, I don't know if you remember this, but at the end of every year, they used to have like the freshmen kind of had like a little scrimmage against each other at the end of the
Yeah.
season.
Yeah. I
Maybe
remember
there would be
those.
a couple walk-on players here and there, and that was like my Super Bowl, man. Like I figured for one, I had to gain the respect of my peers, you guys, because as a player, you learn from other players.
Yeah.
You figure out a coach don't only tell you so much. He can tell you supposed to be in this gap, but that older guy's gonna be like, look, Smitty, man, yeah, you're gonna be there, but the gap might move, you know,
Yeah.
you might have to
Yeah.
defeat blocks, right? So I had to start digesting the game on that level, getting some game for older guys like Fred, Brian Ray,
Yeah.
guys who have been playing, making good plays. So it kind of all came together, and then I figured, you know, the way to actually getting on the field is special teams. You got to go
Hmm.
hard on special teams, gain that trust from coaches. So every year I kind of kept adding more and more. And then I say probably the summer of my junior year, um, I wasn't getting any work at home. It's hard to, as a player, it's hard to work yourself out or get that same level
Yeah.
of training that a coach is gonna give you. So I got my dad to get me a trainer, right? And
Uh-huh.
I'm thinking he just gonna get like, somebody at LA Fitness, right? He gets this guy who's training pros. So a lot of people don't know I was training with pros as a junior on. I was training with Ray Lewis, Shannon Sharp, Dorsey Levens, Hines Ward, and for me, it just fortified my belief and saying, man, I'm out here with pros, so I can become a pro, and
Mhm.
God put it in place. I've pretty much stayed injury free. Everything kind of fell in place.
But now, what I don't want to get lost in this conversation is you're sharing your journey from a football standpoint, but you are also experiencing some academic success along the way. How were you able to balance the on-field development as well as the academic development? Like, who were some of the people, if you had to look back, that really helped you academically continue to grow?
Well, you can't give me too much credit because my first semester at Wake Forest was a trying one from a time management standpoint, and that
Okay.
was just
Okay.
on me. Your parents drop you off at school. When my parents dropped me off at school, I thought, oh, this it's good time, about to have a good time. And school probably was the last thing on the list when that shouldn't
Hmm.
have been. But again, kind of going back to myself, some people take losses and they look at a loss as just a loss, and that
Yeah.
loss stays. But again, losses are learning points from the standpoint of I'm doing bad academically. My friends are doing well. What are they doing to do well? Well, they actually
Hmm.
studying. They're not going out every chance. Time management is key for them.
Yeah.
So again, I just kind of had to rearrange some things and make my priorities my priorities. And sacrifice is everything. You can't go out every day when you're trying to achieve great things. You can't
Yeah.
attain everything when you have a goal or a dream to try to attain. And I had to learn that and take it for what it was. And then when you get to that goal, then you can have all the fun you want. But there's just life lessons that for me, I took them all in stride. I'm not saying it
Yeah.
wasn't hard to overcome. I'm not saying that I didn't put myself in bad situations, but
Yeah.
I was very, very blessed to have academic advisors, Tommy Kleinline, a host of tutors, Coach Caldwell. I mean, like I said, that was the reason why I went to Wake Forest. I needed a group of people around me that actually cared, you know what I mean? And I don't know how it is at Florida State. I haven't been on their campus, but I would imagine if you're getting, at the time we're playing, you're getting all 5 stars, man. You turn them in and turn them out. I'm pretty sure some people got left behind. And I
Yeah.
didn't want to be in that situation. So, like other than probably choosing to sign with the Jets free agency,
Hmm.
um, Wake Forest probably was the best athletic decision I ever made in my life. The very best. The very best. I mean, it just everything that I wanted and needed, it had, and it was perfect.
It sounds like what you're saying is that it works. Wake Forest has always had this personality from the standpoint of athletics to where, again, we're not going to get this long list of 4 or 5 star guys. We're what they call, I think Clausen's described it as a developmental program. And so when you look back at your career, uh, one could say that you benefited from being in a program where you've had an opportunity to come in and you had a chance to gain the weight, to learn the game. And again, anybody that goes back and looks at your statistics will see they just kept getting better and better each year. And you could tell that they were stats from you getting better as a player. And so it would you say that that system works?
It does, but I try to be as open minded in athletics as possible. I really do, because every situation is different. Literally, every situation is different. You come from a town of winning. I come from a town we didn't win much, right?
Yeah.
You come from a different region than I come from. So every situation
Yeah.
is different. A guy that goes to Ohio State who's a 5 star probably not going to be comfortable at Wake Forest,
Okay.
for a number of different reasons. And that's okay. That's why he went to Ohio State. He needed um, a different street to travel on, and that's cool. Um, but just some free game for anybody who's listening to this. It's better to be a big fish in a small pond. It really is, because you're able to go and do certain things and live a certain life, but at your pace, right? Sometimes too much at an early age early age isn't a good thing because you aren't able to take lumps if you're always being held up in a certain light. If you're always winning, right? You're
Yeah.
always winning. Ask Trevor Lawrence how it feels to play in Jacksonville right now, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's serious. You
Yeah.
lost 2 games in high school and barely any in college, and you haven't in maybe won 1, 2 games in the pros. Um,
Yeah.
and you know, I'm sure he's not going to take any of that success away, but life happens in various different ways to various different people. For me, my path, like I said, I needed to grow. I knew as a young kid I need some more growth
Mm-hmm.
to attain my goal. And you know, and I give you like for me, before picking Wake Forest, Ole Miss, and Georgia Tech were probably my top 2 choices. Um, Coach Ray comes in one day, offers me a scholarship. For whatever reason, I pushed back my other visits and made Wake Forest my first visit. I go on my first
Okay.
visit mid. Um, that's how serious of an impression Wake Forest left on me. I wouldn't I only like I tell people, only thing I knew about Wake Forest was Tim Duncan. That is the only thing I know about Wake Forest.
Yeah.
But talking to Coach Caldwell, seeing the campus, seeing his vision, and mind you, we're not talking about Wake Forest of today. That's it's a shiny new toy, beautiful facilities,
Yeah.
beautiful campus. It has a bunch of new additions. We're talking about the Wake we knew. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
But that says a lot for Coach Caldwell and his staff and some other things to make an impression on guys like ourselves to be able to commit and come there. Um, but with that being said, man, like I said, it for me, I kind of knew what I wanted, and my parents helped me. On my
Mm-hmm.
visit, my dad pulled me to the side, like, "Man, this the place. This the place you
Wow.
need." Um,
Yeah, the
so
parents will get you. The parents will get you. My mama got me too. She came with me on the visit to wait. That was it. She committed before I did. So
yeah,
yeah.
no, because your parents know you, they know us,
Yeah.
um, they know what they're looking for us, and they never wrong. It's the kid that we want to
Yeah.
buck with, and hey man, I want to go to Miami. Okay, you know that's cool, but Wake Forest is the place for you.
Yeah.
Um, so
So
go ahead.
Pace, you going into your senior year. Well, you finish your senior season and you you have the draft projections out there. Everybody has their opinion of where you may go. What was it like to get that call to be a first round draft pick? Because that's a prestigious accomplishment that I think people don't understand how much that can impact your long-term career in the NFL, that you start off on the right foot. And so what was it like to get that call that you're a first round draft pick?
Um, you want the real story? You want to make it sound good for the
Hey,
about the
hey, this Deac2Deac. We want the somewhat real. Give us the
so the real part of it is I wasn't happy when I got drafted. I wasn't
Okay.
happy
Okay.
where I got drafted.
Okay.
Um, when I came out, I took a visit to the Kansas City Chiefs, and then they came and personally worked me out. I took a visit to Philly. I took a visit to Pittsburgh. I took a
Mm-hmm.
visit to Jacksonville. Right? They're all telling me, "Hey man, if you there, we taking you." Right?
Okay.
Crazy 22-year-old thinking that's real, and that's not how it goes. Because the draft, literally, they could have me, pegged, and then 5 minutes before somebody else pull the trigger on somebody else. It just don't work that way.
Yeah.
But I never forget, I had a conversation with Tommy Kleinline, who was our academic advisor at one time when I was in
Mm-hmm.
school, himself. And he was talking to me. He was like, "What do you know about the NFL?" I'm like, "It's the top level, man. It's the pinnacle. It's the best against best." And he's like, "Yeah, that's true. But some places you'll go to will be worse than it is in college, meaning the facilities, the culture, and all that." And I'm kind of like, "Yeah, okay, Tommy, but still, the NFL, man, that's the goal. That's the dream, right?" At that time, the 2 worst teams in the NFL were the Cincinnati Bengals and the Arizona Cardinals, right?
Yeah.
I hadn't had any conversation with Arizona. I had no I didn't even think about them in the draft process. Literally, I didn't. And they had a third pick, so I'm like, I'm not going that high.
Yeah.
So I was saying about the draft uncertainty, trades happen as well, right?
Okay.
So they traded from third pick and they got two middle round picks, 17, 18.
Mm-hmm.
Still ain't thinking about it. I'm watching future Hall of Famers come off the board, Troy Polamalu, Carson Palmer, Terrell Suggs. I mean, the 2003 NFL draft was a star-studded draft. I mean, it's the names in there is crazy from the first to the seventh round. So, man, I got the call, and I got a call from a 408 number. I didn't even know what area code it was. I'm like, what?
You screening
Okay.
the calls. You getting ready to get drafted first round, and you screening the calls.
With that being said, I got the call. I'm on the phone with my mom. She jumping up and down. My mom is hugging me, and my body's like lifeless because I just remember that call from Tommy, that talk from Tommy.
Yeah.
So everything he said was true. Everything he said was true. There's a reason why teams lose. Um, and it's not all because of bad players. There's a reason why teams lose, and it starts at the top. Now, fast forward to now, the Cardinals are different. They're a whole totally different organization. Culture's different. But when I was there, man, it was tough sledding for my first 3 or 4 years, man. It was tough sledding, um, but it's just like college, man. I mean, it's like a lot of different things, situations, timing. You know, if I had been drafted there now, I'd be one of the happiest people in the world, right? But it's just a matter of a situation that you can't control as a player. I mean, I was blessed to be talented to even be considered it to be,
Mm-hmm.
in the first round, but there's a reason why certain teams are picking high. It ain't good. It is not because they're good football teams.
So what is that what made you decide to leave Arizona and go to New York?
That and some other things. I mean,
Yeah.
um, when I became a free agent, at one point in time, I really was seriously considering going back. And
Mm-hmm.
then, financial started getting higher on the open market. So, I got to take that in
Yeah,
consideration.
got to make business decisions.
Exactly.
It's pro. It's called professional sports.
But I heard some
Yeah.
conversations, and I keep it somewhat vague. But I talked to a guy. I never forget this. I was in a special team meeting one day, and the guy I actually ended up playing with him in New York, and we're in the midst of probably a 5 to 7 game losing streak. I mean, whatever,
Yeah.
it's getting further. He looked at me. We was a special team meeting. He was like, "Man, when you get a chance, leave." And I was like, I ain't questioning. Hey, Smith, when I
Wow.
tell you I ain't questioning. I was like, all right. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because I could see he was serious. I could see he had been in it long enough. And again, this isn't meant to trash them or any organization. This is just what I went through personally. I'm
Mm-hmm.
pretty sure Larry Fitzgerald or Anquan Bolden has a different take on things. But me
Yeah.
personally, it wasn't the best situation. We didn't have a lot of good vets who were helping the culture, helping young players. I mean, the buzz in the city for the team, you might care for real. It's
Yeah.
just, it's only so much losing that you can take before when you have a chance to get out of it, you get out of it.
Well, what was that pressure like coming into the Arizona Cardinals as a first round draft pick? I mean, it had to be kind of a lot you had to deal with high expectations.
There wasn't any pressure per se um, from the fans or from the media because it was so bad. Like nobody was. I give you a comparison. When I played in Arizona, probably the most media people, personalities that were in the locker room, maybe 10 at one time, maybe 10. On a
Mhm.
bad year in Arizona, I mean New York, 20. When we were good, I mean the locker room was packed with media to
Yeah.
give you a sense in terms of like how much you really matter. Like
Yeah.
like they got to report on sports, but if you only got 10 people in here to report on the actual Cardinals, um, but the thing about it too was for me, I wanted to get that real NFL experience. I wanted to be somewhere where it's sold out and fans, it means something. I got that in New York. Now, I'm not
Hmm.
gonna say New York ain't gonna boo you. I'm not gonna say they ain't gonna be out there talking trash and cussing you out,
Yeah.
but they were there. You know what I mean? We had Fireman Ed getting the crowd going every game. I mean, it was every home game in New York felt like it meant something.
Yeah.
Versus when I was in Arizona, pretty much for 4 years, nobody really cared. My last year, we were 8-8, and that seemed like we won the Super Bowl. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so like again, man, some players they making money and they don't care about that. They doing well.
Mm-hmm.
That's just secondary. Um, but again, I did want that NFL experience. I did want to wake up on Sundays or Mondays and hey man, I can't wait to go in there. And I got that in New York.
Well, speaking of playing in New York, you played with arguably one of the biggest coaching personalities ever. What was it like to play for Rex Ryan? And I know that you have a PG version of a Rex Ryan story that you can tell. You got to have at least one.
Man, it was absolute dream come true to play for Rex Ryan. It really, really was. He was the first guy who said some of the things that I always wanted coaches to say, but they never
Mhm.
said them for whatever reasons. But Rex, the first day he came and introduced himself to us talking, he ended with saying, "We gonna beat the you know what out the Patriots every year, and they can bring them rings out there with them. We gonna beat them with them rings. I don't care." And but he wasn't just blowing smoke up our behinds. That was Rex. That really what you see on TV when you see him commentating and you seeing some of these clips on that was him every single day.
Yeah.
He was a coach who didn't take himself too seriously,
Mm-hmm.
meaning he had enough wherewithal to be like, I was wrong, that was a bad call. I never forget, man. We was getting beat 45-3 by the Patriots on Monday night. Um, man, Rex is on the sideline. It's like third quarter. It was cold outside, man. Rex on the sideline on the bench by the heater, like, man, we getting whooped, but it's freezing out here, man. Just but like how the grind is in football. In
Yeah.
football, if you're not in the thinking to get better every day, to find something to get better at, to find something to stimulate you every day, you can plateau early because it becomes real monotonous because you got
Mm-hmm.
meetings, eat, meetings, practice. It's maybe one or two things that change daily depending on the day, and you can find yourself in a rut to where for long it's not fun anymore, right? But
Yeah.
Rex always kept things lighthearted. Again, he never took himself too seriously. Defensively, as a coach, a genius, a flat out like. I hope he gets his day one day in the Hall of Fame. But I'm talking a guy who was a flat out genius. And he preached, man, just having fun. I
Yeah.
don't know if I never met a guy who liked to see somebody get knocked out cold from a hit in my life, but and even still, I remember one practice before his father passed. He brought his dad, Buddy Ryan, through. Just all of the different guys who careers he's helped speaks volumes on his schemes and him as a
Mm-hmm.
coach. His coaching staff was amazing too, man. Like he had coaches on his staff that I learned a lot from, and they weren't even my position coach. I would just listen to them talk, and just fundamentally they were on point. Um, just the things they were teaching, what to look at from different players. Um, my 6 years there with Rex, I mean, I don't have personally anything but good to say about him. I wish we would have won more because I think we really did have Super Bowl caliber teams. But winning there in New York, I'll like they say, if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. If you can get it done there, you can go anywhere and get it done.
Now, Pace, you played 10 plus years in the NFL. Um, what is your secret to lasting that long in a sport where the average career is 2.5, 3 years? You've basically, I think you tripled, almost quadrupled that. What is that secret to lasting that long? Because a lot of players they talk about getting there, especially in college. Regardless of sport, you hear the conversation around getting to the professional level from a standpoint of just getting there. How are you able to not just get there, but to have such longevity and a great career?
Um, I knew why I was doing it. right? And I did it from a purity standpoint of I just love football. I really, really do. I love everything about it, other than training camp. You can keep training camp,
Yeah.
but football was really a passion for me. And I'm just a person. I figure if you know your why in anything you do, from a school teacher, professional football player, why are you doing this? It makes coming to work easier. It makes games when you don't feel like playing physically, when you might have a tragedy in your life, or you about to get cut after this season. My why.
Mhm.
It's not a problem for me getting up. I love this game. And that why can be anything. That why can be money. You want trying to buy a new car at the end of the year, jewelry. I don't whatever it is, but you still got to get up every day and work towards that goal and try to attain it every day. And
Yeah.
then for me, um, taking care of your body, you know, availability is the best trait that you can have, because if you always hurt every other week, not gonna last long,
Yeah.
and that costs money. You can't be afraid to spend money on a chain, but don't want to spend money on taking care of your body. You gotta take care of
Yeah.
your body. And then probably the last thing is I knew who I was. I really did. I wasn't a guy like to have fun, but safe fun. You know,
Hmm.
it's only so much that part of me could get out. And I did a lot of hanging out and socializing my on my rookie contract. And then I figured out this isn't really conducive for a long career. I'm not saying I just stop going out cold turkey and stop doing certain things, but I put it down on the list a little bit. And I figured, man, you only got a certain window to get the most money you can. And,
Hmm.
um, first of all, set up yourself long term. And then, just kind of keep it moving. One thing, like I was going back to learning the game, I noticed probably about year 7, the game was changing a little bit, going a little bit less from running the ball, being offensive line, running back driven to quarterback driven. Um,
Hmm.
Running backs coming out of the backfield more, running backs being able to split out more. The tight end games change, whereas these guys weren't in line anymore. These guys are basically wide receivers. So as a player, I kind of had to switch my focus and being able to do a little bit more in terms of being able to cover guys um, out in the open field, being able to rush, differently because
Yeah.
passing game changing. And that plays into longevity because, if you're thinking that you about to get the carries that Jerome Bettis in the 90s and you're a running back, you out your mind. They just don't do that
Yeah.
no more. It's a devalued
Yeah.
position. Whereas if I know the game, if I'm a running back, what I do is I learn how to play slot, be a slot receiver,
Hmm.
right? They get paid more than running backs. They have more longevity than running backs. And essentially, like a coach told me one time, the more you can do, the longer you'll stay around, right?
Yeah.
If you play 2 positions or 3 positions versus one guy who can play 1 position, I take you versus him. Why? Because you can do more. That way we can spread, we can, take another player, another defensive back, right? We don't need
Yeah.
2 running backs, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So all that kind of plays into it, and don't get me wrong, Ian, I've had some good people, good coaches, good trainers in my life who've hit me with some life gems that I've been able to take and digest. Um, because we do, we all get these moments in our lives, man, that poignant things are said. Sometimes we miss them, right?
Hmm.
The whole conversation sometimes it's literally a thing, a 2 words statement, really,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you can get a lot from it, and it can stick with you, and it can be a life lesson that you always hang your hat on. Um, so that's just kind of it, man. I mean, like I said, for me, I wanted, my goal was always play 12 years. I don't know why 12 was just in my head. And God
Yeah.
bless me with 13. Um, and I just worked for it. So like I said, I mean, when you figure out your why, then you start getting to the how part. How am I gonna do this? I know why I'm doing it. How am I gonna get to it?
Yeah.
Research, watching other players. I mean, like I said, I played with many guys who were like shooting stars, man. Their first 5 or 6 years, they was all Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
And plateau at 7, they get hurt at 8, you never see them again. So many players. And I didn't want to
Yeah.
be that player. I wanted to be, if I didn't get to the star level, I was okay with being a consistent, good football player who was needed, right? you can be all that and then be at home, but I was needed because I was able to do a bunch of different things, play a certain type of role to where they needed my services.
Mm-hmm. Well, when you look back over your career, 13 years in the NFL, wonderful college career, what two moments stand out to you the most about your career? It could be on the field, it could be off the field.
I made it through, man, unscathed, man. Seriously,
Yeah.
like, and when I say that, I mean relatively injury free. You know,
Mm-hmm.
never had any off the field trauma. Um, had some highs, some lows. Made a couple Super Bowl runs. Obviously, didn't get it done, but like I said, I mean, you got the shooting star type of guys. You got guys who crap out after 2 years. You got guys, played a whole career, double digits, never made it to the playoffs. So everybody's got a different story. Um, but like I said, I made it through, man. I mean, there's some things I feel like I left some plays out on the field that I wish I could have back. Um, if I had one thing to do all over again, um, when I got to New York, I think I would have worried more about myself in certain situations. I've always been a team player. Even when
Yeah.
you talk about ascending in college, I still was a team player, man. I wanted everybody to eat. I didn't feel like I had to go out there and get all the sacks. I wanted all my peers, my boys to eat too, because I feel like we all had talent to make it, you know. And I feel like if we're all good together, they can't keep on one person. Right?
Yeah.
Everybody's good. They got to respect everybody out here. Um, but that, man, and then I probably say the second thing that I'm most proud of, man, I was a good teammate, man. Like my teammates matter to me. They still matter to me. Like because you going to war every day, going through a situation only football players truly know about. It's
Yeah.
easy to watch
Yeah.
the finished product on Saturday and Sunday, but most people don't know what goes on Monday through Saturday or Sunday. Have no clue. Um, and I think if they knew that, I think they'd be shocked, man. I think they would give players a lot more respect from the standpoint of, I mean, it's in a lot of ways, it's almost impossible to make it through and graduate and still to be able to stay on the team and stay eligible, man, because you don't have a lot of time for yourself, let alone
Yeah.
your schoolwork,
Yeah,
you
now
know.
you're right about that. The time gets tight. And Calvin, after your career, you started spending more time coming back to games, being involved with the program. You spent some time getting to know Coach Clausen and the staff. What was that experience like for you when you saw the program when Clausen first came in to seeing where the program is now, coming off an 11-win season, winning the Gator Bowl, playing for the ACC championship? As an alum, what is it like to see the program from where it was to where it is now?
Fulfilling, like really, really, really is fulfilling. I'm proud of these guys yearly, like almost like they're my kids, like just really,
Yeah,
really like I watch games with a smile on my face, win, lose, or draw, man, because I know what it takes to be at Wake Forest. Speaking specifically about Coach Clausen, Ron Wellman made an excellent hire with that because he hired a builder. He hired a guy who built the foundation, who wasn't trying to leave anytime soon. He wasn't using Wake as a stepping stone somewhere. So when you get a guy like that who
hmm,
puts equity into the program, he's trying to see it through. He's
yeah,
trying to see your classes come through because he made a promise to those kids' families that I'm gonna make your kid the best player and the best man that I can make him, and he's seeing it through, and that's what you want as a head coach. Um, the well coached teams, they're getting better yearly, um, and I mean that's all you can ask for now. Moving forward, obviously you want to keep that momentum going forward. Um, but all signs point to that, man. It really does. I mean, it's refreshing to see your program that you were part of when. Let me just be honest. It was some gloomy days in there, man. I mean, you
yeah.
know,
It
22-0
was.
Fear was lost.
It was some long walks to the pit.
you know, but, but that being said, man, I think sometimes as an alum, man, it's like you smile even harder because you remember them days.
Yeah,
Remember out there in winter condition in Caldwell, it's 29 degrees outside, and Everybody else sleep, it's still dark outside,
Yeah.
but you got to put in the work, man. And I think with everything coming full circle, man, these guys got state-of-the-art facilities that they're able to capitalize and make themselves better player, better men, better students. It's just all coming together well, man. I know it's way more success in line for us, man. And every year I mark my calendar to see what games I can get. I'm there, man.
Because see, the you see where as a player the importance of the facilities, and you talked about the upgrades that Wake has had and has continued to make, and investing in the student athletes. How how does it feel to see that investment and also see the return, specifically related to football? I remember the indoor facility, and then we just finished up the McCrary Center, the Sutton Performance Center, Sports Performance Center. When you see that, and then you see teams just continuing to get better each and every year, kind of talk about just what that means and that impact and of having facilities that are upgraded. And as you mentioned, not just for athletic purposes, but for academic purposes, as well as your overall health and wellness. There are other aspects of the facility. So just kind of share your thoughts on the impact of having upgraded facilities and what it's meant at Wake Forest.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing about it is, man, everybody wants to be rewarded for their success. You should be rewarded in some kind of way. You should be. Luckily for the guys, I mean, we have, although not a huge alumni base, is one that does contribute, one that does stand by the team. For all accounts, they love the product, so they're willing to invest, which you're supposed to do. I think and again, I don't have any relationship with the guys playing right now, but it seems like from the outside looking in, they've taken it upon themselves to say, man, we got the best of the best. There's no reason for us not to do well. Let's go hard. And you can see they're going harder every year. And I don't know if it's necessarily they feel like they have to because they have these new things. I just think it's almost as if, man, Coach Clausen's outlaid the goal, the plan. People are investing in us. All we got to go out there and do is play, which is how it's supposed to be. And again, it's kind of all coming full circle. I mean, I had no clue. I mean, I knew that there were indoor facilities, but the fact that we could get one, I don't know. I mean, every time it rained, I knew we was gonna be outside. I just think about it. Sometimes if you don't know,
Yeah.
you don't know.
Or remember going into the gym to practice? That was the worst. That was the worst.
But I think the thing about it is, man, it's like there's a vision. There's a vision of how they want things to look. There's a vision of what they want the players to have, and there's a vision of what they want the product to look like every weekend, which is what you have to have. I mean, I don't think in this day and age, college sports can be um, played by the wayside and we just making moves on the fly. I don't think it
Mhm.
works like that. So fast forward now, we got John Curry here. Obviously, Coach Clausen's already been here a few years. I just think it's a perfect marriage, man.
Yeah.
Moving forward, it's the same model that I think stays there. Things are different now. You got the transfer portal. I think the players have a little bit more freedom in terms of making decisions that kind of are fully vested in them versus where we weren't necessarily didn't have some of those opportunities. Um,
Hmm.
but it's just guys who've already been in the program, continue to lead, continue to keep a winning culture because that's everything. Because there's certain standards that you got to live by, certain things that you can't do so that your performance starts slipping and start
Yeah.
becoming okay and complacent with things that aren't moving up towards winning. Right? We've been to the championship game. Now it's about winning that championship game. All right, we won it one year. All right, let's go to the playoffs, man. Why not?
Yeah.
Cincinnati did.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, man, it's there for you if you want it, but it's how you approach it. Like I said, the winning culture is there. It's taking the next step to be able to right your wrongs. Right? We
Hmm.
lost out in the AC championship this year. Why did we lose? How did we lose? You know, right that ship for next year. Hey, we've been in this moment already. Now it's our time.
That sounds great, man. I want to ask you about the atmosphere at the game because you were at the NC State game, and again, you were also at Wake when things weren't going so well. What is the atmosphere like at the games now for you when you come back and again you're experiencing this season? And I'm pointing to the NC State game because of the impact of that game. It's not just, one of our bigger games of the year, but what it meant for this season, what we were playing for. What was that like to be at a game where we had 90 plus percent students and attending the game? What was that like for you to be a part of that?
Oh, it was beautiful, man. I mean, it just kind of brought back memories of my time at Wake Forest, even down to the
Yeah,
point when we were playing NC State and just everything. I mean, I'm standing right by the tunnel. The players run out with you, and I kind of put myself there when I was there. And we didn't have those environments. I probably say the game we would beat Georgia Tech to go to the Aloha Bowl was probably
yeah,
that was probably our Super Bowl at Wake Forest.
yeah,
That probably was the game where most NC State like. Um,
yeah,
but again, I think it all goes back to Clausen, the belief and the foundation he had. And when you start winning and you start having success and people start buying into that vision, not just your players and their family, but people outside the program, the fans, just people in the community, when they start buying in, now you got something. Now you got power because when they buy in, even when you're not doing well or you hit a little rough patch in the game, they're there to pick you up. Like, nah, come
yeah,
on, fellas. We here for a reason. We got a bigger goal at hand. And I think you kind of seen that in that game. That game was back and
yeah,
forth. And then we eventually took the game over and able to keep momentum in the game. But it all goes hand in hand, man. I mean, it's funny coming to Wake games because you always on the fan side, they always have a pretty decent turnout. I mean, this is a
yeah,
decent NC State turnout. Any game we play within the division, it's always a decent turnout for the opposing fans. But our fans always, they find that way to drown them out. They find that way to uplift the team, no matter the situation. Um, so I mean, again, it's just like I said, it's all coming full circle to where, we don't just got families coming to the game and a couple of students. We remember them
yeah,
days.
yeah. I do remember those days.
We got people taking time out of their lives, like, hey man, let's go to a Wake game.
Yeah,
Let's go forward. I'm pretty sure we've made numerous new Wake fans, and within a 50, 100-mile radius who weren't Wake fans before. And that's because
hmm
of success.
and so we're at a point now. I was mentioning this to Fred about we have guys that are graduating and they've been to a bowl game every year of their career.
Right.
And what that says about a program when you're graduating guys and that's all they know is playing in bowl games. So from your experience, you played in two bowl games. Uh, can you imagine what these guys are going through when they have an entire career where they played in bowl games and each year seems to get better? Um, what is that like to see that as an alum when you see the program is at that level? Not just, oh man, we're trying to barely get to a bowl, but it's become natural now.
I think it's what I, as a player, when I was at Wake Forest, what I dreamed of. And then we made it to two. It should have been three, but unfortunately, 9/11 happened my junior year, and they ended up kind of having to cancel the season. Not the season, but some things happened. We weren't able to make it to a
Yeah,
bowl game. But we all dreamed about going to a bowl every single year.
yeah, yeah.
Specifically, the Aloha Bowl was probably the best week of my life. It was the best week of my Hawaii. It's Christmas week. My mom and
Yeah.
sister out there with all my whole team. I wasn't playing that much, so I didn't have to pay attention too much in the meetings. So as long as I had my special team stuff together, when I was riding scooters all around the island, man, and
Yeah.
it was literally the benchmark for bowl games for me because I was like, this is probably the most fun I've ever had at practice. We practicing in paradise, man.
Yeah.
It was so that was the
Yeah.
benchmark. So that was an experience that I wanted to have every year in a new city, a new stadium, playing against a new team that I hadn't played against. We playing against Arizona State in Hawaii on Christmas Day, right? My senior year, we
Yeah.
playing against University of Oregon in Seattle. I mean, if nothing else, material things come and go, right? Money comes and go, but the memories, man, the memories is something we'll be sitting back at 60, 70 years old, still recounting those memories. So
Mm-hmm.
I want every kid in every program to experience it one time. You should have
Yeah.
the opportunity to go to one bowl game. But specifically for us, I just want us to keep going to more, bigger, better bowls. I want our brand to get out there more nationwide, um, within different conferences. Playing Big Ten teams, Pac-12 teams, seeing how we
Mm-hmm.
compare. Um, and I think that's there for us. It's just again staying consistent, setting new goals to attain, and just keep moving forward, man. There's no reason to ever go backwards for our program. Even in loss, defeat, injuries, transfers, you still got to keep moving forward.
That's great, man. Hey, Pace, man, thanks for taking the time out to share your story and all the things that you've been able to do and accomplish. So, uh, one thing I always ask our guest is who you would like to see next. So, who do you think should be the next guest on the Deac2Deac podcast?
My years or
It
any
could be
time.
anybody who from Wake Athletics, past, present, that you think will be a great guest.
I'm gonna give you two.
Okay.
Um, and I'll tell you why. One, I probably say the first guy is Aaron Curry.
Okay.
'Cause Aaron was different, man. Aaron was legitimate, probably a superstar, and was because anytime you're top people talking about taking you top five, you're a serious player.
Yeah.
But I think people should hear the story. I've read a little bit into it. I know a little bit about it, but because this is a little different from mine in terms of how long he played.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes people get labeled certain things, particularly in football, bust, and why he didn't make this. But I think as a player, former player, sometimes your story needs to be told from your perspective, your narrative,
Yeah.
what actually happened, and even his time at Wake Forest. I mean, he was there. I think he was there the Orange Bowl year.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so Aaron saw personal success, team success on a level that I don't know if anybody at Wake Forest has ever seen. Um,
Wow. That sounds okay.
uh, my second guy probably would be Eric King, um, corner I played with,
Oh,
and
E.
Eric
King.
was drafted fifth round. But again, his story is different from you got two first round guys, obviously myself and Aaron, but I think the story of a guy, mid round guy, how to stay in the league and some of the battles and wins that he had from that
Mm-hmm.
perspective. I think that would be a good story for people to hear.
Okay, cool. Well, Deacon Nation, you've heard it that we've got to get Aaron Curry and Eric King on here. Again, Pace, man, thanks for taking the time out to come and share your story and all that you've got going on, man. Appreciate you and all that you do for the program, man.
No problem, man. Appreciate you having me.